Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely change how you look at your daily nutrition. You know, we spent so much time obsessing over vitamins, proteins, and fats, but we totally overlook the literal foundation of our biology. I'm talking about those basic, non-organic molecules that act like the critical software running your body. Today, we're unlocking the inorganic code of life.
Think about it for a second. You probably know your macros, right? Your carbs, your proteins, your fats. You track them, you balance them. But do you actually understand the hidden spark plugs that are driving your entire biological machinery? Because without these inorganic micronutrients, all the protein and energy in the world just cannot be utilized. Your body is basically a rusty engine without them. They're the quiet operators keeping the whole system online.
Okay, let's dive right into this. To make things super actionable, here's our game plan for today. We're going to cover 1. The inorganic code of life, 2. Macrominerals and electrolytes, 3. Essential trace minerals, 4. The root causes of deficiency, 5. Mastering mineral bioavailability, and finally 6. The dietary optimization protocol. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The inorganic code of life. This is our foundational think phase, where we really need to set up a pristine, scientific baseline before we can actually start optimizing. So what exactly are minerals anyway? Well, by definition, they're inorganic micronutrients required in tiny amounts that are absolutely essential for normal physiological function. But what's really mind-blowing is the sheer scale of what they actually do. I mean, we aren't just talking about building strong bones here. These minerals drive nearly all of your physiological processes, literally everything from DNA synthesis and hormone function to making sure your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, are firing on all cylinders. We generally divide these into two main camps. On one side, we've got your macro minerals, things like calcium, magnesium, and your electrolytes. Your body needs these in pretty large quantities. On the other side are your trace minerals, iron, copper, zinc, selenium. You only need a microscopic amount of these to prevent a deficiency. But here's the real secret. While you only need a trace to just survive, these trace minerals can actually be dosed a bit higher to truly optimize your health.
Moving on to Section 2, Macrominerals and Electrolytes. Welcome to the Test and Identify phase, where we're going to diagnose the heavy hitters of the mineral world that your body burns through every single day.
First up is magnesium. I really like to think of magnesium as the ultimate biological software because it's used in over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body. It produces ATP for energy, regulates your blood pressure, and controls your glucose. And actually taking magnesium glycine before bed is just incredible for sleep quality and nervous system regulation. But fair warning here, this is one of the most incredibly common deficiencies out there. So if you're dealing with poor sleep, unexplained anxiety, cardiac arrhythmias, or just random muscle twitching, you might literally just be running low on this crucial software. Next up, we have a really vital pairing, calcium and phosphorus. Now, we all know calcium is the most abundant mineral in the human body, super important for bone density. But its role goes way, way beyond just bones. It's absolutely critical for nerve transmission, blood clotting, and crucially, keeping your cardiac rhythm steady. And remember, calcium always needs its partner, vitamin D, to actually be properly absorbed. Then we have phosphorus, which is basically a master builder. It forms your cell membranes, builds your DNA and RNA, and helps maintain that delicate acid-base balance throughout your entire body. Now let's look at our dueling electrolytes, sodium and potassium. These two are in this constant, beautiful dance with each other. Sodium governs your fluid balance and your blood pressure. But if it drops too low, it can lead to severe headaches, confusion, or even seizures. And that's where potassium steps in to balance out those effects, regulating your cardiac activity and muscle contractions. A deficiency here, that leads to this really profound feeling of muscle weakness, fatigue, and dangerous arrhythmias. They absolutely have to be in harmony. Section 3, Essential Trace Minerals. You can kind of think of these as your microscopic immunity and repair agents. First in this microscopic toolkit are zinc and selenium. Zinc is basically your ultimate repair agent. It is critical for wound healing, DNA replication, and testosterone production. A deficiency here literally halts repair, which leads to poor wound healing, hair loss, and just low overall immunity. Then we've got selenium. This is a heavyweight protector. It powers your glutathione peroxide system, which is this highly sophisticated, powerful antioxidant defense network that actively protects your cells from oxidative stress while making sure your thyroid functions smoothly. There's also a totally fascinating synergy between iron and copper. Iron is famous, right? It transports oxygen via hemoglobin, fueling your energy and your cognitive performance. If you're low, you're going to be fatigued, short of breath, losing hair. But here's the kicker. You literally cannot absorb iron if you don't have enough copper. Copper is the metabolic gatekeeper for iron. Plus, copper is massively in the cultural zeitgeist right now for its role in collagen synthesis, specifically as the copper peptide GHK-Cu, which is fantastic for joint and skin integrity. So if you've been taking iron and still feel terrible, definitely check your copper. And rounding out our trace minerals is iodine, basically your metabolic engine. Iodine is absolutely essential for producing your T3 and T4 thyroid hormones. By controlling your thyroid, iodine indirectly controls literally everything from your baseline metabolism and body temperature regulation, right down to brain development. A deficiency here basically slows the whole machine down, causing weight gain, profound fatigue, and that physical swelling of the thyroid known as a goiter.
Section 4, the root causes of deficiency. Now, this brings up a massive question. If we live in a world of caloric abundance, why are so many people just merely surviving instead of thriving? Let's explore exactly why we're lacking. So, the crucial point is this. Just eating food does not necessarily mean you're getting nutrition. The primary drivers draining our mineral reserves are highly processed diets where people eat the exact same things day in and day out, with basically zero variability. Add to that a total lack of fruits and vegetables and the honestly poor soil quality they're often grown in nowadays. But it's also our lifestyle, Heavy sweating strips out your sodium, potassium, and magnesium. And surprisingly, common medications are massive culprits too. If you're on PPIs for acid reflux, or taking diuretics, or even metformin for blood sugar, these medications actively interfere with your body's ability to absorb minerals from your diet.
Section 5. Mastering mineral bioavailability. We have officially arrived at the Optimise phase. It's time to reveal the ultimate biological hack for unlocking your nutrient absorption. To truly optimize, you've got to understand bioavailability. Bioavailability is the actual amount of a substance that can be absorbed and used by your body. Let's make this concrete for a second. If you swallow 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, your body doesn't actually use 1,000 milligrams. Maybe you only absorb 500 milligrams in the gut, and of that, maybe only 200 milligrams actually become bioavailable to your cells. There is a massive, massive gap between what goes into your mouth and what your biology actually gets to use.
A huge roadblock to bioavailability, especially in plant foods, is something called phytic acid. Phytic acid binds to minerals and literally blocks them from being absorbed. But we can actually bypass this with some pretty precise scientific preparation steps. Step 1, fermentation lowers phytic acid content. Step 2, simply soaking your legumes, beans, and lentils before cooking makes them significantly easier to digest. Step 3, pair vitamin C with your meals to massively boost your iron absorption. And finally, mix your plant and animal proteins together to balance your mineral ratios and really unlock your food's true nutritional payload.
Section 6. The Dietary Optimization Protocol. All right, we've reached the final stage of our explainer. It's time to put all of this together into a really actionable dietary prescription. A food-first approach is always the clinical gold standard. So, here are the premium sources that should really form the bedrock of your diet. On the animal side, we're talking about highly bioavailable powerhouses like beef liver, fatty fish like sardines, Greek yogurt, eggs, and shellfish. And over on the plant side, you'll want to load up on dark leafy greens, legumes, seeds, potatoes, bananas, and avocados. Let's distill all of this into your daily clinical protocol. Every single day, you should really aim for 2 to 3 servings of dairy or a calcium equivalent. You want a pretty heavy vegetable intake, specifically 500 to 800 grams of veggies daily, plus 2 servings of fruit. Be sure to include 1 serving of legumes, nuts, or seeds, and maintain an adequate protein intake. Try to get seafood in about 1 to 2 times a week. And please, listen to this part. Do not be afraid of iodized table salt. There's a very good reason salt was iodized in the first place. A lot of people simply don't eat enough seafood, and this is by far the easiest way to protect your thyroid and prevent an iodine deficiency. And that brings us to the end of our explainer. Every time you sit down to a meal, you have a choice. You can eat just to satiate your hunger, or you can eat to actively optimize your biology. You now know the vital role these microscopic, inorganic spark plugs play in your body, from your energy levels to your mood and your immunity. So, I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder before your next meal. Don't just eat, optimize. Is your inorganic software up to date?